Hello, welcome back. And this is Respond, Not React. So, with one of the spiritual groups that I'm in, I know that this was a conversation topic that I really enjoyed talking with other people about. And ever since that, I've brought it up over the last couple months with other people and also done my own journaling and writing on it and all this fun stuff, right? And so what I like about the idea of respond, don't react, is in life, a lot of times things happen and it makes us react. Especially if it's like the first time. If something is the first time ever, you're just gonna like, surprise, like, whoa, what is this, right? Or it might be whatever emotion, happy, mad, sad, agitated, angry, annoyed, elated, whatever, you're reacting. Versus responding. So responding is, I've been to this rodeo a few times, and instead of acting the exact same way I did the first few, I'm going to respond in a different way. We do this all the time. And what I notice is that you can learn so much about yourself if you think about a situation you've been in life. How did you react the first couple times it happened versus how you do now? This is the 20th time it's happened and you still react the same way? Or what have you done to change it to a response? And then when it comes to response, is it a good response or a bad response for your particular situation? The reason why I bring this up is because when it comes to boundaries, as people, we really sometimes don't know what a boundary is until it's been crossed, right? It's like, I'm cool with that until you're not. I know that when I've done anything with BDSM, I know that is a big thing. Like, you can do all the negotiation in the world beforehand, but there still can be some things that slip through, or like people just didn't know. Like, yeah, I thought I was down for that, or you know what, it might be on their list of things that they want to try, and then they realize, oh, actually that's not for me. I'm happy I tried it. So that's how we figure out things. And so at this time in my life, I've been thinking about how a lot of people are losing their jobs and things like that. And I know that for young people, we've heard a lot of times from the older generation, I hate to say it, you know, where you could get a job for 20 or 30, 40 years and that works for you and you're stable and it's all good in the hood for you, money-wise. And so, you know, my generation would have been able to have bought houses and bonds and all kinds of fun stuff. But because of inflation and minimum wage still as low as it is, no siree, Bob. So, because the whole society has been stacked against us in that sense, then we have these issues. But then we can think about the positives. We have all this cool technology. We're able to have knowledge at our fingertips that we've never had before. There's things that are so much easier. I mean, who doesn't want to talk about dial-up? Who wants to even talk about how if you got stranded on the side of the road, you'd have to go find a payphone? Like, we don't gotta do that. Medical breakthroughs. I mean, just all kinds of great things, right? So you take the good with the bad. And I think right now, we're at the precipice of a time where in history, people are gonna look back on this and say, do you really want the history books to say we were just like dumbasses? Like, I hate to say it like that, but like, if you're gonna think about the future, think about how the history books are gonna think about you right now. Okay? Don't think about the future and anxiety of panic of, oh, how am I gonna do right this very freaking second? Think about what history is gonna think about us. And also, go eat something. But like, that's a thought. That's a thought. Instead of, I feel like a lot of anxieties about like money or the virus or staying at home and stuff like that is just very short term if you think of it in months or even 2 years. But when you think of 2 years compared to 20, 2 years compared to 200, it's like a whole nother game. It's a whole new game. It's a whole new ballpark, friend. And when we look to the past, same concept. Don't think about, that time you tripped in 3rd grade and everyone laughed at you. This is not the time. The time is, how did people 200 years ago would have thought of us right now? How blessed do you feel? Because as a black person, as a black woman, anytime someone talks about time machines, I'm like, we are not going to the past, and you are not going to take my black ass to no past. I'm not doing that. What rights do I have? No. We're going to the future. We ain't going to no motherfucking past. That's for white men. So I just feel like, nah. And I love Doctor Who. And I prayed for Martha every episode. Okay. So, future. So that's why looking to the past for me, and the reason why I'm such a history buff is because there's so many good nuggets in there. So many good nuggets. It's like when you talk to your elders. If you talk to your elders, they will tell you some shit you need to know. They'll be like, girl, but back in the day, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, whoa, we're still freaking doing that, And I used to love having those conversations with elderly people when I was a kid. And now that I'm getting slightly older, I feel like this is like another good, like, spur of the moment time. A lot of our elderly are passing away. I hate to say, this would have been the time that we should have the recorders out, like, recorder, tell me about your life. Lay it down. Tell us what we need to know. Because, and whoever is left, this is the time to talk to them. Get their records. Get their historical records. We need that, especially for people of color, especially for women. Because I'm going to be real with you. It's different. It's like political candidates. If the candidates who are assholes, who take every single lick of information out with them, and so the new campaign has to just start over fresh, is usually never able to get anything done in that office. But if they have all that information, if someone was a mayor of a town for 30 years and they have all that information, all the fires and discrepancies and the weirdness with the zoning of the houses and blah, 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 blah. When you have all that information, you're able to be such a better mayor because you have all that past info. So we don't got to repeat that dumb stuff. We on some new shit. So when we don't talk to our elders, you're going to be starting from scratch, making the same ass mistakes as your elders. So that's what I'm saying. Our elderly people out here, you best to talk to them. Tell them you love them. Get that information. Okay. And also tell them you love them, because no one should die all sad and alone and stuff. I mean, come on. And feeling unloved. That's like super number one. But for the purpose of this video though, get this information, because it's crucial and people have a lot of wisdom, and this is why discernment is important. Okay, using good judgment. Not everything they gonna say is gonna be helpful. Okay, there's gonna be some stuff that's just like, we don't do that anymore, or that was never okay. You just thought it was okay because you were able to get away with it. It was never okay. But there's going to be so many good nuggets of like, ooh, we can update that. We could update, yes. So I'm going to so with our school systems, when I watched this thing that was like, our school systems are still made from the Industrial Revolution times in America. I'm like, what? So they're still on this broken ass system that's been around for like 150 years. No wonder like there's so much racism and sexism still rampant within it. You're working on outdated software in an updated world. So don't do it. It's time to upgrade, kids. And while we're on the topic of updating, I remember like an asshole. That's what I'm gonna call myself for this moment. I was like, I cancel culture. And I had told my friends this last year. I was like, y'all, I'm tired of this. Why are we canceling people every 2 seconds? Some people have to sit down. then the irony was, then I started canceling people at one point because I was being a little paranoid. And I just realized, like, oh, that's why everybody was canceling everyone. It was the paranoia. It was the anxiety. And also learning how to use discernment. When you don't understand how to use discernment, you're just gonna be doing shit willy-nilly. You gotta learn how to get it together. So we were at that point in ourselves, like, well, but how do we discern? Because, friend, there's been atrocities, okay, happening for decades and decades and decades and hundreds of years, and we're gonna, like, get that shit together. But then there's also things that have, like, nuance to it, like, but also, like, that kid didn't understand that. But then what are the things that we let slip for you didn't get that because you were 7, versus the stuff that's like, I don't give a fuck how old you were. No, we don't do that. So what's the difference? And who decides? With people at what education levels? But also compassion levels. Because you gotta use your intellect and your compassion to make the right decision. Again, that's the masculine and feminine principle coming together. That's light and shadow working together. Because it's like when you forgive your parents. You gotta get pissed at them in the first place to forgive them. So the first thing is, oh, I can't stand that you told me this thing that was unhelpful, or you never taught me this thing I clearly needed for life. Then people usually become parents and are like, oh my God, there's no way to teach someone everything. And you can tell a kid something at 7 and they'll forget it at 17 and then tell you that they don't remember you telling them that. Just because you don't remember it doesn't mean it's not true. But as adults, we do that shit too. So it's the irony, right? So then you realize, like, yeah, kids are just tiny little humans, like, and they're stuck all up in their ego because we're always telling them to shut the fuck up and to be quiet and sit on their hands and knees. But if they don't sit, then they're just running rampant, fucking shit up all the time. I mean, there has to be a happy balance. Right? You don't want them just like everywhere, but then also, like, if you make them sit so perfectly and quietly like this, then there's a lot of things happening in here and it's not helpful a lot of times, right? So that idea of, like, this balancing act that we're trying to do, that we're doing, and we're always doing, is always going to be getting better, but it's never going to be perfect because perfect doesn't exist. So, in my idea of even, like, the coronavirus, if it was a plague or something like that, well, the Spanish flu just happened 100 years ago, 1919, it's 2020. Oh, it's been 100 years. I guess we were due one. If you think of it more like that, when you look at history, then you would be like, ooh, that's cold, friend. That's cold. But I understand what you're saying. Okay, put the compassion in. Well, but we do want to get to a point where we no longer have plagues. And it is my optimistic side that we can eventually have the technology and the kind of health systems and things like that where we can avoid these types of things in the future. What I'm saying is that because we've been here for thousands of years and it is a thing that happens, I understand why it happened. Don't mean I'm cool with it. Don't mean I'm cool with it. You see what I'm saying? Like, light and dark balance. So in this time, I know we're all like, what are we gonna do? Don't think of it as what are you gonna do? Think about how are you going to respond, not react. How are you going to use what you know about history to help make you feel better? And if you don't want to look at history, make your own history. Go talk to your grandparents. Go talk to some elderly. But I know they're like quarantined, but y'all have phones and recording devices. And also, young people are smart as fuck. And we will engineer some shit out of nowhere. We do that all the time. We're just so smart. It's like when I got my parents to use FaceTime and they just were like, wait, I forgot this was a thing. And I'm like, I know, but we're going to use it so you won't feel bad that you can't see me. And so I was like, how you get grandma on FaceTime? So the point is like, I know it's going to be difficult and you might not be able to do it. I'm just saying, let's let's work on it though. Let's try. As many people who can. And if you can't, don't beat yourself up. Maybe if you don't have that kind of resources, help other people do it. That's yet another thing you can be doing. There's so many things we can be doing. So I feel like, I hate to say it, but like, have you ever seen kids when they're bored and then some adult will come up and be like, y'all bored, y'all could be blah blah blah, and when you're a kid you're like, shut up, I don't want to do none of that stuff. You know what I mean? So you're not saying that you're bored because you know there's 50 million things you could be doing. What you're saying is you don't know what of the 50 million things you could be doing, which one you want to do first. Yeah. So I'm using this time do whatever the fuck I want to do, because when are you going to get another opportunity too? If you're in that boat. Now, if you're not in that boat and you're like literally surrounded by people you can't, and this is literally the worst time in your life to do whatever the fuck you want to do, then I would say, what is it that you want to do after this is all done? That is how we're supposed to use our imagination. That is how, when you look to the future, you make it less anxiety ridden and more something helpful for you. What are the great things I could be doing after this? What are the great things I want to be doing after this? What are my goals in life? Anything that I don't like what's going on in my life now, how can I change it and reverse it? And then the things that I don't like in my life, how can I also accept them? Because sometimes the things that we don't want and it keeps coming to us anyway, it's because, one, we haven't accepted it. It's like if you're a person who is a smoker and you've never actually seen yourself as a smoker though, this would be the time to have to own up to it. It's a reason why in Alcoholics Anonymous you have to say you're alcoholic first. Like, you know what I mean? I had to tell people I don't like calling people. I mean, I don't like texting people all the time. I want to call people more. And guess what? Like, I swear, like right after that, then I was able to text people. It was like once I was able to just admit that I don't like it, then I was able to just do it. Because before it was like, I don't like this thing, but I feel like I'm pretending like I do. Now when I do it, people know, like, bitch, you special. Like, or, you know, whatever it is, right? Or not even always that, because I have noticed that now that I talk to way more people regularly, I can't be on the phone with all of them. One time I was on the phone with someone and then someone was texting me and I was like, oh shit, okay, I guess maybe that's why people text, so you can talk to multiple people at the same time. Like, whoa, I didn't even think about that part. Because I wasn't normally talking to this many people. I like small numbers of friends and small numbers of lovers. So I want the intimate, close groups, like group settings, right? Like, so it's like, oh, but you love so many cool people, though. It's like hard to narrow down who are the cool people. Like, I remember in November I had to do this. In September, I was like writing down lists of like people and like, what do they mean to me? And where should they be prioritized in my life? And it completely failed and crashed and burned. And it was because it was like I was trying to have it where it's like, text these 5 people one day, text another 5 people the next day, text these other. But then I realized once you start certain conversations, you want to continue them, because then it's like, what them do, just like hit you up and then just be like, I don't know you 3 days later. Because that happened. And so I was like, oh wait, you almost need like 5 people for like a month. And like, I'm just gonna like rebuild this relationship for this whole month with these 5 people. And then next month, we're gonna work on 5 other people. And then, but then it's like, who are the first 5 people? And it, like, are they gonna feel like you don't care about them as much or as less as someone else if they find out that they were January 5 list people versus February 5 list people versus the December 5 people? Dang. So just little things like that, the nuances of trying new things is its own whatever. But we're in this new world, this new technology. I can't ask my grandparents about what happens if you try to text multiple people at the same time. But one thing I can ask my grandparents is, how was your work home life to friendship life ratio? And how did you deal with that during the land of only home phones? And then some people didn't even have those. You had to just walk by someone's house and say, hey. Like, whatever. And if people move, sometimes people move and you never saw them again. How did you deal with like friend heartbreak? Like, friend heartbreak is sad. Like, I realized I have cried more over friends leaving than lovers. That's disturbing. I never noticed that until I journaled about it one day. It was like, have you ever known? Anyways, so it was just like weird things like that where you're just like, wow. Okay, no sound effects. But yeah, so those are the 3 things I wanted to bring up in this episode. Is this an episode? I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, respond. Don't react. I've canceled cancel culture, and you can too. And y'all, we still working on outdated software in an updated world. Those 3 points is what I wanted to talk about. Because with respond, don't react. Responding is just thinking before you do something. Reacting a lot of times comes from past history, past traumas, or even the unknown. What is unknown? And cancel culture, I think, has a lot to do with millennials being Scorpio in your Pluto, because Scorpio, Pluto energy is all about the extremes. And so the idea of like, I never do that to I always do that. So I realized, like, for me, it's like, I'm a person my whole life, I never block people. When I don't like people, I just don't talk to them anymore. I don't see the need to block them. But last year, I blocked 3 people at 3 different times in a year, and was like, I've never blocked anyone in my life. And then one person even blocked me. So here's my 4 trifecta, going back to the 4s. If you watch my video on the 4 thing, you'll be like, oh, I was the one who blocked you. You're neither. I'm like, I know. Anyways, so the point was that I almost had to go to the extreme of like being this type of person that I normally am not. I never block people. Like, I just don't really see why. Only once, but that's because that person used to actually stalk me. Like, actually stalk me. So other than that, never felt the urge. So when the urge came, it was just like, where is this coming from? Because this is a response, not a reaction. You don't react like this. This is a response. What? Why are you responding this way? So responding doesn't always mean something positive. You gotta watch that. Responding can be positive, like you used to be a bitch who blocked people all the time, and now you don't. And now you respond differently because you realize, oh, I don't want to do that. It's like that kind of thing. The switcheroo. So even when responding, you want to make sure that your response is still from a place of discernment of what is going to be better for you, and not necessarily coming from hurt or pain. That idea of like, I'm going to block you before you can block me. Like, I'm going to leave you before you can leave me. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So again, with that cancel culture, it's like, yeah, we need to cancel like the Harvey Weinsteins and the Bill Cosbys, but why are you canceling like that kid down the street? Like, it's not even that serious. Like, it's not, they are not on the same echelon. Like, it's just not the same. Discernment. It's just, those are 2 separate things. That makes sense? Unless they're a creepy, rapey person who like slips, pills in people's drinks, then they're right up there with them. Like, otherwise, why are we canceling? We can take breaks, y'all, from people, but we're canceling. There's no compassion in that. There's no. But it is a good tough love for people who circle back around or not. Or, just bump into people. So, also. Okay, and then the outdated software in an updated world. So yeah, so with that, we are moving into a time where we're like, y'all, maybe in schools we don't need what the fuck do you call it? What's the thing in movies that they had that I never actually had? Detention. Like, I didn't know what that was. Like, most schools I went to didn't really have it, and then the ones that did. So, say instead of detention, it's like you gotta go do some yoga. Go do some yoga because you're doing too much. You need to go center yourself. Yes, you right there. You're disrupting the class. I'm gonna need to go to the yoga corner. Thank you. We're gonna be in a point like that if we update our software, okay, for this world, this updated world that we are in. There are going to be so many situations that we're going to be like, wow, we could have just been on Zoom the whole time. Why did I need to show up and look at your ass? You know, that kind of thing. Which is, you know, it's funny because I love to be in person with people all the time. But I forgot that, like, video calling is just like being in person. You can set the phone right next to you and watch TV. No, just playing. But you can share screens. Anyways. So, it's just little things like that. You know, I'm having to make my own adjustments. Other people are having to make their own adjustments. And I'm just like, y'all, we all should be making adjustments and seeing how we're going into this new world. Because you can't live in the past. Sorry, it's already gone. 5 minutes ago, I can't take that back. Those 5 minutes of my life are gone. So I can't dwell on it. And neither can you. Okay? Yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. And I'll see y'all later. Oh, please like, comment, subscribe. Are you with me on this? Do you have ideas? And I'm gonna be real with you. Question, say this out loud. Like, answer me out loud if you can. But are there anything that you know that you canceled that you're like, are there any responses in life that you're like, this is how I respond in these situations really well? But I've noticed that I've responded in other situations not so well. And I've reacted to certain things that was fine. I don't know why I fucking changed it. Or I reacted to certain things that was not so great, and I need to respond better. So, stuff like that. Please tell me. So I love you. I love me. I love us. I love we. I'll see you soon.